Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly outlook video. So we're going to start with the dollar index. Let's just look at the monthly time frame. I want to show you something. So for those people who are new to this channel, welcome. And you can see the whole of last year we had all this bearish momentum. And then we had all this consolidation for some time. So right now, what we want to see, we anticipate that we are likely to see a bullish move. We want to see a retracement on the monthly time frame, because if you look at the monthly time frame, you can see price has created a new dealing range. So right now, we want to see price actually trade to a premium level before we see the bearish momentum, if dollar is weak, or we see bullish momentum from there. But as of now, our draw of liquidity is to this premium PDRE, which is a monthly fair value gap. And also you can see it's with an inversion fair value gap. So that's basically here we have a balanced price range. So let's look at the weekly time frame. So if you look at the weekly time frame, of course, you can clearly see the consolidation that I was talking about. All this with the consolidation. Then we had all these bearish moves, sweeping all the lows, getting a rejection, and we've had all this bullish momentum. So if you look at the weekly time frame, now on the weekly time frame, you can see price has created a new dealing range right here. So because price is already at a premium and we want to buy, we don't want to buy when price is up here. So we had identified this fair value gap on the weekly time frame, which is a discount fair value gap, and we wanted to see price tag this before we anticipate a bullish momentum. And clearly you can see that's what happened exactly this week that just closed. So of course you can see price has not really gotten exactly in this fair value gap. So it would be nice actually if we get another last drop for price to literally pierce through this fair value gap. So we have a fair value gap and we have an inversion fair value gap. So that's a balanced price range. So if you look at the daily time frame, of course, you can clearly see this is what we have. So it would be nice. I would really want to see us get that bearish momentum, sweep these lows, tag this weekly fair value gap before we now look for that bullish momentum. And of course, the confirmation for that bullish momentum, once price gets above this gap, that is a definite confirmation that price is ready to go bullish, because you see price can still retrace here and we still get more bearish momentum. I don't really see dollar selling unless dollar inverts this weekly fair value gap. If this fair value gap gets inverted, then at that point I would have to change my bias. But as of now, I'm not changing my bias. I want to see dollar start buying. So let's look at USDCHF. So USDCHF and dollar are positively correlated. The same thing you can see is USDCHF. Last year we had all this drop. Right now price has created a new dealing range, and you can see there's a fair value gap here and there's an order block here on the monthly time frame. So right now for me, I want to see that. For now, what we want to see is price give us a retracement to a premium of this new dealing range. So either it tags the order block or even the fair value gap before now we get a bearish, before I think of a bearish USDCHF. But as of now, my draw of liquidity is here. And if you look at the monthly time frame, you can see last month when it closed, price created an order block right there. And we also have an inversion fair value gap here, which actually has already been tagged by price on the monthly time frame. So if you look at the weekly time frame, you can see there's an inversion fair value gap here, and this is the monthly inversion fair value gap, which has already been tagged by price. Again, we wanted to see price get here before we see that bullish move, and you can see that's what we have. So we have this sell side liquidity here. If dollar actually goes lower to take out the sell side liquidity, USDCHF price might also do that. Price might take out this sell side liquidity before we see that bullish momentum. So let's look at the daily time frame. If you look at the daily time frame, of course, this is what we have. We have this sell side liquidity and this sell side liquidity again. If price sweeps this before we see that bullish move, that would be nice. So let's look at EURUSD. So EURUSD and dollar index are negatively correlated. So again, EURUSD, you can see last year. So this is the monthly time frame. You can see the whole of last year we had all this bullish push. Price has created a new dealing range. And if you look at this new dealing range created by price, you realize we have a fair value gap here on the monthly time frame, and we also have an order block right here. You can see it's actually at a discount level of this new dealing range. So yes, this is what we want to see. We want to see price get here, and then once price gets here, then we can see if euro is bullish or bearish. But as of now, this right here is our draw of liquidity for price. So if you look at the weekly time frame, you can see as price started giving us that bearish momentum, already we have formed a new dealing range, and you can see price has actually given us market structure shift here, new dealing range created. And of course, again, we say whenever a new dealing range is created, we want to see price retrace before we see a continuation. So if you're going to get more continuation bearish momentum, we wanted to see price tag this weekly fair value gap, and then we get that bearish momentum. And you can clearly see last week we had all this strong bullish, and so far price is right here. So where price is at the moment, the same thing for euro USD. I want to see euro bearish, but of course I'm not just going to the chart and blindly trading bearish. Of course we have to look for confirmation, and we need to see price aligning bearish for us to look for bearish momentum. Unless price violates this, before price violates this weekly fair value gap, I'm still holding to the bearish bias for euro USD. So if you look at the daily time frame, you can clearly see this is the weekly fair value gap, and we had a daily fair value gap here. So if you look at this, all this bullish move, you can see price left behind a daily fair value gap here. So now, once we start seeing the bearish momentum, once we invert this fair value gap, that is enough confirmation. At this point, that is enough confirmation that the market is now ready to go bearish. But as long as price is above here, you have to be very careful with your bearish setups, because you can be sure buyers will want to buy from this fair value gap here. So let's look at GBPUSD. So GBPUSD and dollar and euro USD are positively correlated. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It's literally the same thing. On the weekly, you can see that is what we have. So let's look at the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, you can see this is what we have. Price swept all those highs right here. And again, the same thing. Once price inverts this bullish fair value gap, then at that point, that is enough confirmation that the market is ready for the bearish momentum. So let's look at gold. And gold, of course, you're going to start with the weekly time frame. You can see, of course, gold has been bullish until we had all this bearish momentum. And you can see when you're having this bearish momentum, price actually left behind a fair value gap on the weekly time frame. So until price inverts this weekly fair value gap, that's when I would think of a bullish gold. But as long as price is inside or not violating this weekly fair value gap, then I'm thinking of a bearish gold. So let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, you can see there's this fair value gap here, which price was actually not violated. We had all this week price weakening this. This was a weekly order block right here. And also, of course, there's a daily fair value gap here. So you can still get price getting to this daily fair value gap before you get a bearish momentum. Or we can just get a bearish move from right here. So that's what I see for gold, for bearish gold. For bullish gold, then, of course, you're going to see price is going to invert this first fair value gap. Stay bullish momentum, inverting this fair value gap. More bullish momentum, in the process inverting the weekly fair value gap. And then at that point, that is enough confirmation that gold is ready for a bullish move. But as of now, I'm looking at high probability bearish gold. So let's look at NAS 100. You can see last week we had all this bullish move for NAS 100. And the previous week before that, there was an order block and this gap created. You can see price tagged that gap, and we had all this bullish move. So far price is actually closed above all this. Okay, so the only PDRA we have is all this up to this point here. All this is a more of an order block, so that's what we have. So let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, NAS 100, if you're still continuing with the bullish NAS 100, then of course you'll see price will use this daily fair value gap to push price higher for this buy side liquidity. If it's bearish, then of course we will want to see price invert this, so we see more bearish momentum. But as of now, this fair value gap here is really important. So that is all I prepared for this weekly outlook video. If you enjoy these videos, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button.